So show of hands, who here needs some scholarship money? Oh, y'all rolling like that? Okay, yes, 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 okay. All right. So, and it's good to see you guys' faces. Yes, let's see some more because I've been looking at these lovely pictures, but I would love to see the smiling faces. All right. So I am going to introduce you to an expert of getting scholarship money. And this person's near and dear to my heart because she's actually my niece. This is my niece, Gabrielle. And Gabrielle has her own company called Scholarship Informer. And we'll put the link at some point in the chat so you guys can check her out. So Gabrielle, I know people are like, who is this chick and why are we talking to her? So tell us your story.
So I wasn't going the journalism route, even though my uncle is a rock star in our family in that regard. I thought I was going to be an accountant, actually. And I was going to pay for my education with athletic scholarships. And I ended up tearing my Achilles right before district play. So they stopped recruiting me. And at that point, my parents were like, you need to figure out how you're going to make college affordable, because it was very expensive, the schools that I was considering. And so I had to get creative. And to date, I've won well over $200,000 in scholarships to pay for my bachelor's, my MBA. And had it not been for scholarships, I never would have even been able to start my doctoral program when I was 23. So I've seen it all. And I work with quite a few journalism, communications, digital media students that are crushing it in scholarships. And so thank you again for inviting me back to speak this semester.
So I'm sorry, what was the amount again? How much did you get in scholarship money? Can we hear
Over
that?
218,000 right now.
Okay, 218. And so Gabrielle, I guess the big question is, how did you do it? What happened?
I guess I was kind of like a journalist because I just told my story. The same things that you would share when you are, I guess, reporting on a news story. I was vulnerable in a lot of my essays. I talked about my injury. I talked about my grandfather passing away shortly after that. I talked about real life. And that was able, or it allowed me to be able to connect with the scholarship committees because they felt like they knew me. They felt like they liked me a little bit. And then they also felt like they could trust me to carry out the mission of their scholarship organization. So I was just honest in my essays.
So what types of scholarships did you apply for?
I applied for the sportsmanship scholarship. I applied for things through my local cafeteria. Every university has a cafeteria, so definitely you want to be looking there. A lot of students actually overlook the cafeteria, but those companies are bringing in millions of dollars each year, and so they do try to give back, and some of them are pretty lucrative in terms of the amount. I also applied for things regarding my major, different associations that I was attached to. I had an internship in college that, even though it wasn't necessarily a scholarship, it functioned like one because they sent me to conferences that were very expensive and they paid for certain things. So those were some of the top places that I've looked over the years for myself.
So I understand that there's practically a scholarship for anything. So can you talk about some of the more unusual scholarships that are out there?
Yes, yes, yes. Is anyone here a vegan? Anyone a vegan? I see some no's. I think Gwen said, ooh. So I'm in Texas and vegans are, you don't find as many here. The people love their steak in Texas. But there's one sponsored a $10,000 scholarship by the Vegan Association. I think it's the Asparagus Club or something to that degree. But it is for students that are vegan and if you promote veganism. Does anyone remember what is it called? Pokemon Go. Anyone remember when Pokemon Go was like really, really popular? So there was a law firm that sponsored a scholarship. And the question was, if someone gets hurt on your premises playing Pokemon Go, should the company be held liable? And that was it. And you just had to write about it. I've seen one for Minecraft. There are all kinds, knitting, crocheting, any hobby that you have, there's a scholarship for it, even Star Trek.
So I understand that each year there are thousands of scholarships that just don't get any applicants. So how do people find out about these scholarships?
I always tell people look local, because sometimes people are so focused on the large amounts that they overlook the $500 here, the 1,000 here, the 750, but that can add up to a lot. One of my communication students, she has won over $80,000 in new scholarships from April to October, really September of this year alone. And she actually won the NABJ scholarship that was $10,000 this year. And she got a letter from, I think, Dorothy, is it Dorothy Tucker?
Dorothy Tucker, yes.
Yep, she got a letter from Dorothy Tucker for $10,000. And so that was one of her larger ones, but she also applied for local ones and ones at her school. So I would just say, look everywhere. Don't just look or focus on the ones that are, $10,000, 5,000. Don't overlook the ones that are also 500.
So you also said that you don't know what the FAFSA form looks like. How did that, I mean, so you started, let's go back to your story. You basically took an old book and started building your scholarship wealth. Can you go into that detail?
Sure. So I do know what FAFSA looks like. I don't know what the student loan application looks like.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
No, you're good. You're good. Because you do want to fill out FAFSA, folks, every single year, even if you are not going to qualify for anything, just because you have to have it on record. And so when I started looking for scholarships, I went to our local used bookstore, and I didn't even know the book was 10 years old when I picked it up. I just needed help. And I started going through it, and some of it worked, some of it didn't. But I was just like, this isn't going to pay for my education. And I got really creative and started just trying to figure out, okay, what is every single thing about me? What are things I can talk about? I think at the time, and I fussed at your brother, my father, about this, because he did not share that, my great grandfather could not read or write and was signing his name with the letter X. And so for me to be a doctoral student in education, that's a big deal. And so I started writing about that in scholarships. And I told him, I said, if you would have told me this in high school, I could have won another $100,000 probably in scholarships. And so, it really was a matter of just starting to look in places that sometimes go unlooked, including your providers of like your utilities. The people that I pay every single month for my energy bill has a little statement on the bottom of the form that says, applying for scholarships, need a scholarship, apply here. So every single place that you do business or you purchase, I mean, that's what I started doing, and it's just added up over the years.
I love the fact that the cats are listening to our
Right.
conversation. I guess they need some scholarship money too.
Right. Use your cat for applications. So serious.
Really? That's actually a thing?
Yes, there are. I don't know if these are, I don't know if they're stray cats, if they're adopted, how you came into owning your cat, but there are some pet companies, and one of them literally said, have your pet in the video and talk about ways that you want to make sure your pet is living a healthy life. Yep. And if you've adopted a pet or worked at any type of animal shelter, there are tons of them. All you have to do is just Google, adopted scholarships for students who have adopted a pet or animal.
Wow. So see, people, cats can get you some money.
Like $1,000 or more.
Wow. Okay. So how do you advise someone to get started looking for scholarships? I mean, obviously, you will Google journalism. Okay. But what else could they do to help gain some scholarship wealth?
So I would say create a scholarship profile. For one, scholarship scams are real. So I would recommend using a separate email. I personally like Gmail. I'm not endorsed or sponsored to say that, but I like Gmail. And I use that for all of my scholarship work. And so it can literally be your name. It may be future journalists, it can be creative, but you want to separate your personal information. So start there. Then once you have that set up, you'll want to have a scholarship profile that lists your college, where you want to work in the future, because there are some programs out there where let's say you want to work at CNN or some of ABC, whatever the organization or company may be, they're scholarships sponsored by independent people that say, this is for future students that want to work here or want to do X, Y, and Z. So you just want to list every single thing out about yourself. That would be what I would recommend. If it's 200 bullet points, that's fine. If it's 500, if it's 100, I wouldn't go any less than 100. And you'll, once you get the hang of it or you start doing it, it won't take you long to actually create a scholarship profile. But that would be where I would start.
So Max Branscombe, who's a professor at Southwestern College, hello, Max, is asking this question. Many students consider scholarship hunting as a part-time job. How many scholarships should students apply for in a week, a month, and what percentage of applications might be successful?
This is a great question. So when it comes to a week, most of my students are applying, my current college students are applying for between 7 to 10 a week in about an hour. And that is because when we're searching for scholarships, we're looking for the applications that have overlap. We're working smarter, not harder. So if you see something that says it's 1,000 words, for you, I mean, being journalism students, I don't think it should take you as long as a typical student. And they're going to look at that and be scared by the word count and not want to apply. So some of your scholarships that have a higher word limit would be a great place, but you'll start to see a lot of overlap. Law firms have lots of overlap in their applications. Even the pages sometimes look that they're listed on look exactly alike, except for a difference in someone's picture, the question, and the amount. So I would say 7 to 10. And so if we're multiplying that by 4, let's just say you can only get 5 done, then at least 20 a month. And then when it comes to the percentage that you would win from that, it would vary based on where you're finding the scholarships. But I would say, if you apply for 20, you could still win maybe 3 or 4, which is still $4,000. And $4,000 for 4 hours of work, I'll take it.
Amen, sister. Are a lot of these scholarships based on financial need?
Some are, some are not. Some just is based on the quality of your application. And so that would be, if you have, I tell people, we call it at my company, we call it the Mexican food philosophy. If we go to a Mexican food kitchen, and I'm in Texas, so Tex-Mex is a big deal here. If we go to the back end of a kitchen, what are some of the ingredients that we're going to see? Just, you can list it in chat. This is not a rhetorical question, but what are some of the ingredients that you would see if you went to a restaurant, a Mexican food restaurant, Tex-Mex? What are some ingredients you would see in the kitchen?
All right, answer, people.
I see some people typing.
Okay, rice.
Rice, okay. There's a big one that starts with the T. Huge one.
Don't make me throw it at you, people. Tortillas.
And there, okay, what else do we see?
Beans.
Okay. What about cheese? What about meat? There are no vegans here, so I would assume there's some meat in the kitchen, possibly. Tomatoes, etc. You've got your tomatoes, cilantro, all of these ingredients. But out of those ingredients, what are the dishes that we get? We get quesadillas, we get tacos, we get burritos. It's the same ingredients. Each one of those have a tortilla. Each one of them has meat. So when you're working on your scholarships, every single paragraph is an ingredient. So view it in that way. And so if the committee is asking, tell me about a challenging moment, tell me about your leadership, tell me about community service, then you pull and mix and match and you build the essay so that you're serving them with what they're asking for.
Oh, okay. All right, I like that. We've got some seniors in this mix, and are there any scholarships for graduate school?
Yes, there are tons. I would say the same way that you search for undergrad as a senior will be the same way that you search for graduate school. A big mistake that a lot of students make is if I'm majoring in communications or journalism, oftentimes they're only looking for scholarships in journalism. But it could say this scholarship is for communications majors or related majors. Well, journalism is related to communications. But if I'm only looking for journalism, I'm going to miss out on a lot of other scholarships that are out there because I'm not searching wide enough. So as a undergrad or grad student, you have to make sure that you have all of the related terms and keywords to the scholarships that you're looking for so that you can find them.
Okay. So my other question is, let's just say I am a freshman and I'm a dire need for money for the spring semester. Are there any scholarships with like quick turnarounds, or how do you get money really quickly if you need it?
You apply for the ones that are coming up due right now, because because scholarships are not regulated, anyone can post one. So I may say we verify or we alert winners 2 weeks after the scholarship closes. So that may give you enough time. You would just have to read what the requirements are on the scholarship. But I would say a couple of places that I like looking and that we've had students win. Bold.org is not bad. I've spoken to the people that actually own that site, and my student Imani, who's won the $80,000, she won one of theirs. So I know that they cater to people that know how to tell a story, because you have everyday people sponsoring these scholarships, and because you are receiving training in how to connect with people. So I think that they have a good database of scholarships. And then I will post the other one in chat too. But it's JLV, J as in John, L as in love, V as in violin, collegecounseling.com. And we've had students win lots of scholarships on there. Your major deadlines are always going to be the 15th, the 30th, and the 1st. So 2 weeks out every single time would be what I would be focusing on.
Is there a scholarship season, like the best time to apply?
I would say the best time to apply is any day, just because, and using Imani, because she is a communication student, every single week her mom was emailing me that she had won. So her scholarship season was over the summer. Others, you can win a scholarship or apply every single day. So I don't necessarily think there's a season per se, but I think that maximize your Thanksgiving break, maximize your winter break so that you can get out as many applications, because just because you win now doesn't mean they are going to award it now. It could be months before you get that actual scholarship in the mail or on your account.
Oh, okay. That's good to know too. Are there any big ticket scholarships that people should try to apply for if you
I
will?
would definitely say the NABJ one, that's $10,000, is a good one. Floyd Mayweather, she won one of those, and I think theirs are a little bit smaller, but they have various ones. We post scholarships all the time on our social media, and we have people that come back and literally will say, I won this scholarship, thanks for posting it. And so I'll put our social handles in chat too. But I would say anything tied to a specific association that you're a part of, which that could be a little bit different for each person, is a good place to look. The direction or type of media that you would like to pursue, and use your skills because it will benefit you. A lot of the distracted driving scholarships are lots of money out there for those too. And students don't like typically writing about them or creating videos or creating content. So those can be some easy ones to grab.
How much work is it to actually apply for a lot of these scholarships?
When you say work, what do you mean?
Like you just mentioned video. Some of them actually require video, or so what's I guess what I'm asking is, what's a typical scholarship application like?
It could vary. Some are going to ask for your recommendation letters. So you may need to have 2 to 5, depending on the amount of the scholarship. They're going to want an updated resume. There was a phenomenal training earlier, so everyone's resume should be getting up to standard. So you'll use that. And then they're going to ask for your essay. They could ask for a personal statement, and some will have this optional COVID statement where they want you to list or write how you've been impacted by the pandemic. And so those are some materials that if you don't already have that, I would recommend that you start to get a move on it, because you will need them for some scholarships that are out there. So depending on, if you're better writing versus being on camera and recording yourself, it may not take you very long to do that at all. Once you get enough in your scholarship library or toolkit, then it becomes pretty easy to knock them out each week.
So what I'm hearing from you is you should definitely go in with a strategy.
Yes.
Okay, so you should go in with a strategy. You should be prepared to write because, duh, you're a journalist. You should be able to write, or at least learn how to write. And then also you should just, research and spread your seed wide, because you just never know what's going to come back, or cast your net wide. Let me say it that way. So you just never know what's going to come back.
And I would also, to add to that, would be to look in the direction that you want your field to go. So for example, I was doing some searching the other week, and the NSA has a internship, work study, scholarship program. And if that is the type of reporting that you want to go into, possibly, they have a summer strategic communications intern program. And the applications, I think, are due sometime this month, but it literally, and I'll paste the link in chat for anyone interested, but it literally says here, for students enrolled in one or more of the following areas: writing, editing, journalism, public relations, marketing or advertising, social media, visual arts, television production, motion picture production, or 3D animation. So, I mean, there's a wide variety here. And what you would do at that particular internship is corporate communications, messaging and public affairs, responsible for communications and major initiatives directed to both the worldwide NSA workforce and external audiences. And all they're asking for: resume, transcripts, 2 letters of recommendation.
That sounds really simple.
And that's with the intelligence careers. I'm pasting the link now, but that is for that particular internship with the NSA.
Shoot, I need to apply for that one myself. Any final words or any final advice?
I would say nothing is too small in the scholarship process. Sometimes people think, well, I have to have this, or maybe this is going to hold me back. Use every single thing about yourself to your advantage, because there are real people that are reading your essays. There are real people that are analyzing what you say in your resume. And they want to give the scholarship to someone that they feel like is a human, but also someone that they feel is going to go out and do good in the world and do well in the world. And so a scholarship is not just about you, it's about the people that you're going to impact. And if that is representing a certain population or demographic or cause, then those are the things that we want to hear about, because that's going to pull me in, that's going to hook me in. And more importantly, it's going to make me want to help you as much as possible reach your goals, dreams, and to just support you in any way that I can as a scholarship committee member.
And one last question, how can people reach you?
Scholarshipinformer.com, and my email is just gab@scholarshipinformer.com. Feel free to send me an email. Give me just a little bit of grace in responding, but I promise I will. I am on the road quite a bit, but if you have a question and even if you put Jerry in the subject line, I'll know that you're one of his students or someone connected to this, and I will expedite my response to that.
All right, Gabrielle, thank you. Charge it to the family account.
I will.
All right.